A Sea of Sorrows by Bookshope21, Chapter 4, Third Year. September 1st, 2005. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Scotland, United Kingdom. The silent phoenix flamed Percy onto platform 9 and 3/4. Percy was saddened by Luke's betrayal, but he knew that it wasn't going to change anything. Percy boarded the train as his estranged loudly arrived on the platform. Charlie brought the twins to the car that Percy was in. "So, you're disrespectful git of a brother," says two voices in tandem. Fred, George, knock it off. Percy was well within his right to stay with Aunt Beryl, because Mum and Dad were awful towards him, says Charlie sternly towards them. "Percy, what happened to your eyes?" asks Fred. "Well, Fred, when Molly and Arthur were at the hospital to deliver you, Bill, Charlie and I were staying with Uncle Fabian Gideon when Bellatrix Lestrange entered the safe house. She casted a defendo at me, but I turned my head and the curse cut across my eyes. I haven't been able to see since that day," says Percy. "Mum told Fred and I that you had lost your eyes because you had stolen her wand and caused it yourself, which is why you were sent away," says George in a confused tone. "Yeah, it is, and I meet my real family. I have never truly seen Molly and Arthur as my real family because of how they treated me," says Percy coldly. Percy read his books that were gifted to him by the Athena cabin. It contained the history of the Muggle world, which really interested Percy. "What are you reading, Percy?" asks Fred curiously after some silence. The brothers had changed into their school robes. "I'm reading a history of the Muggle world. They had achieved so much without magic. I have some friends in America who have seen some of the incredible structures that were built within the use of magic," says Percy. The four brothers parted ways with one another as Charlie and Percy got in a carriage, while Fred and George got in the boats. "So, Percy, what classes did you sign up for this year?" asks Oliver, and Percy could sense Charlie leaning forward to hear what he says. "I signed up for divination and ancient runes. I plan on self-studying the rest of the courses," says Percy. Then he senses the arrival of Fred and George. "Frederick Weasley," calls Minerva as Fred approaches the Sorting Hat. "Gryffindor," calls the Sorting Hat, and then it calls the same for George. The twins were in the same house as one another. Dinner had just started when a snowy white phoenix appeared in the Great Hall. It was Poseidon, and she was followed by a green phoenix as well as a red phoenix. "Come here, girl," calls Percy as he holds his scarred pet on his shoulder. The other two phoenixes see who the owner is, and they both disappear as quickly as they had appeared. "Who's this, Percy?" asks George curiously, as he hadn't seen this phoenix before. "This is my pet phoenix, Poseidon. A Muggle friend of mine helped me to name her," lies Percy, as he cannot tell his brother about the gods. September 2nd, 2005. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Scotland, United Kingdom. As Apollo brought his solar chariot across the morning sky, Percy awakened as he made his way to the Black Lake. He met with the Mer Chief, who was angered at Poseidon for never recognizing their needs. "Of course, Chief Oceanus, I will speak to my father and we can set up a trading system between Atlantis and your village here in the Black Lake," says Percy, to which the chief smiles. Percy feels a hand in the water and he quickly makes his way back to the surface, where he senses Charlie waiting for him. "Come on, Percy, it's time for breakfast," says Charlie as he drives Percy off, and the two brothers head for the Great Hall. Percy heard an owl crash landing into a plate of bacon. "Oh, Errol," groans Fred, George and Charlie at their family's ancient owl making a crash landing. "Howlers as well as lessers for Fred and George," says Charlie as he holds the howler nervously. "Percival Ignatius Weasley, how dare you continue to spread blatant lies about your father and I? We left you in America for your own protection, yet you ran away from your aunt's house in order to, attend a camp for stupid children such as yourself? You are to come home for Christmas this year, or else you'll be forcefully brought home," screams Molly. Percy runs from the great hall as he starts to feel the sting of tears in his eyes. Percy ran to the Black Lake. He could hear someone run after him, but he swam to the Mer Chief's village in order to calm down. After some time, Percy sensed a figure swimming towards him. It was the headmaster. "Percy, why are you down here? And how are you breathing without the bubble head charm?" asks Albus in shock when he noticed that the third year was breathing perfectly normal. Before Percy could answer, he felt an iris message appear before him. It was Poseidon. "Perseus, I have spoken with the chief of the village, whom lives in the lake at your school. Thank you for bringing their neglect up to my attention. I am sending my son and daughter to Trab to set up the trade," says Poseidon before he ends the iris message. "I see, Percy, that you are the son of Poseidon," says Albus in shock. "Yes, I am, sir. Arthur Weasley is not related to me, and he, as well as Molly, abandoned me in America when I was 3. I was brought to a special camp where I learned who my real father was," says Percy calmly. "You have detention for a week for missing your classes today. No points removed because everyone heard what Molly had said to you," says Albus as they return to the Great Hall, as everyone enjoying their evening meal. Oliver was in Percy's classes, aside from ancient runes, which he shared with Penelope. They gave him his homework, which he finished and brought in for the next day. During lunch the next day, the sound of trumpets could be heard. The students and teachers rushed outside in order to see what was happening. Fred and George got too close to the edge. Percy used the water in order to save his younger brothers from drowning. He also removed the water from their clothing. "Presenting Prince Triton and Princess Rhode of Atlantis," cries someone as 2 figures with bright green tails swim to the shore. "Which of you controlled the water like that?" questions Rhode, as she looks at the hundreds of children before her. She and Triton were told by their father that they had a little brother here, but before any of the students could speak up, the Minotaur appeared. "Everyone, get inside," cries a voice, as a boy with raven black hair and a lightning bolt across his eyes rushes forward. "Percy, watch out," cries an older boy with red hair. The boy known as Percy created an ice barrier around him and the Minotaur, which prevented the red-haired boy from coming close. The rain continued steadily, and then all of a sudden the ice barrier was removed, as Percy had held a bronze sword along with the Minotaur horn. Triton and Rhode approached Percy and the redhead who was scolding him. "So you are a brother?" questions Triton. Rhode is surprised to see not green eyes, but instead white eyes. "Yes, I am. My name is Perseus Weasley, and I am 13, says Percy. Triton and Rhode remember that nearly 14 years ago, a witch summoned their father, and he was gone for 2 weeks, but then he returned and had told their mother about what happened to him. "You were born because your mother had summoned our father. She captured him for 2 weeks, says Rhode, as she recalls what happened. Mum did that, and one day she had a raven in a cage, so I freed it, and the raven never returned, except for a stuffed blue whale, which was given to Percy, says Charlie. After that day, the rest of the year was normal, aside from Percy being carried to the burrow. Percy kept his mouth shut the entire time, and he refused to talk with Molly and Arthur the entire time. Upon his return to Hogwarts, he asked the headmaster to send his grades to his friend Chiron. When Percy returned to camp, he sensed that it was overrun by mechanical monsters. Of course it is. Thanks for listening, I guess. Thanks.